Uh, I switch lanes like a driver, but I still got that fire, let me remind you. I'm no liar, if you low, I get you higher. That's why I need me a rider. I'm fresh as a newborn, not dying for designer. Trust God got me sitting in recliners. While the stress hitting, I just keep putting work and I got no limit. Me doubting myself, man, I got no business doing none of that. I just keep my soul driven.
Well, cool. Well, we can go ahead and get started then. Elder Samuel made it in here. We can go ahead and get started. We haven't even started yet, Elder.
Oh, okay.
Waiting to see whether or not some of those other guys are gonna come, but they probably tied up. But Sean he gonna definitely continue to we gonna get his questions asked because that was the question that we was sent. And
Okay.
so we went ahead and we took the time to come up with the scriptures and so forth that we need to be able to explain it so that everybody would understand what the mark of the beast is. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start.
Yeah, that's something to talk about.
Big pardon?
I said that's definitely something to talk about. So I will, I'll try to speak for the people that have some of the same beliefs that I have about it and some of the understanding that I got on it. And then like just hear what y'all saying for sure.
Okay.
I know people serious about that one. That's not, this one is like something that people hold close to them, like. Oh.
Right. So the common belief system when they talk about the mark of the beast, they always talking about the thing about the buying and the selling and so forth. And that's a carnal interpretation of what it's saying. But what we're going to do, if I can adjust this thing so that we can share what we got here. Hold on here. Let me see here. Just a moment here. We're gonna try and get to Revelations here, and we're gonna explain what it's talking about. Because the thing that the chapter we are going to, and the one that you put on your on the questionnaire was Revelation 13, right? And there's a lot of stuff in Revelation 13, and a lot of it, the people don't understand what it's talking about. But we're going to focus on the part that you brought out, and that's going to be, we're going to start at Revelation 13, and we're going to start at verse 11. Let's see here. So, come down with it. There we go. There we go.
Revelation 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
So we're going to go and we're going to read all the way through the portion that talks about the mark of the beast and the 666 and all that other stuff, right? And we're going to explain it carnally, what the people say it means. So this is how it's being taught in the churches and so forth, right? We're going to explain it like that first, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to explain what everything means spiritually, okay? So we're going to go to the next verse.
Verse 12. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed.
Okay, so it's talking about how, there's going to come a beast into power. Beast being a person or a race of people or whatever, depending on how they're explaining it, right? And they're saying that this beast is going to have a power to control people and what people do. All right. Verse 13.
And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
So now a lot of people say, well, this means this dude, he's going to have a whole lot of power. He's going to have magical powers and so forth, right? They say, well, this is talking about the guy who is, who this is, he's going to have great understanding. Or it's a lot of different ways that they explain it, but they're saying that whoever this person is, he's very, very powerful, all right?
And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast.
So it's saying this guy's going to be able to do miracles, like to all people. They're going to have actual, like some people believe, magical powers. You know,
saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live.
So they're saying that, you know, they're going to make you worship idols. That's how they explain it. What he going to get everybody worshiping idols. He going to trick them into worshiping idols and such. All right. He got that kind of power.
And he gave and had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
So now a lot of times this is explained as saying, well, you know, well, there's this particular beast, you know, a red beast that's in charge of the world right now. And he's got the ability to make the beast speak through movies and you know, and he's deceiving the people, and he's gonna get you to worship his religion, and if you don't worship his religion, he's going to kill you. All right, so that's how a lot of people translate that particular portion of it. All right,
verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Okay, now you got a couple different ways that this is explained. So now, whenever he's talking about small and great, rich and poor, some people think that's talking about just individuals. Well, some people teach it that it's talking about nations, right? And then it starts talking about that they're going to receive this mark. The mark is explained to be a chip, where they're going to insert a chip of some kind, either in your hand or they say in your forehead. And they got all of these different people who, you know, they've experimenting with putting chips in their hands and so forth, so the person can, you know, use the ATM, or they can buy stuff, you know, just using the signal that comes out of the chip and so forth. So that a lot of people believe that.
They also locking, they start, well, not locking, but they starting to program things different in the stores where you're not going to be able to get into the registers and stuff like that, and for the food unless you have this chip.
Right.
And,
right.
You know, it's a lot of different things they're doing that are very suspect.
Now look. Yeah, go ahead. So now check this out though. You think they're gonna put that in your mind, your forehead, when they got a chip that you walk around in your pocket every day? You carry a chip with you?
That's what I said. I mean, like, I'm like,
you carry the chip with you every day.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you can have one on your bank card. You can have
no.
Your phone?
Yeah, you carry that phone everywhere you go.
Everywhere.
What can they do with that phone? They can listen to your conversations. They can watch you. You got Apple Pay. You can't go nowhere without that phone. Right. So, and it said it's in their right hand. You get what I'm saying? So spiritually, you got to know what the right hand and what the forehead mean to understand this whole parable.
Yeah, well, that's definitely, I mean, well, your hand has, you know, like you said, the hand mean doctrine, different times. It definitely it could go somewhere else, but as far as the physical, the having a chip being in your forehead is a real thing for people that don't have right hands and left hands. So that's why people,
What's in your forehead?
what's in your forehead, you got your what you
No,
mean? What's in your forehead?
what's right behind your forehead?
Your brain, your penis,
Ah.
brain, what?
So when he's saying your forehead, what he talk about?
Pineal gland
In your mind.
in your mind. Okay, okay.
What's
Yeah,
in
yeah.
them?
No, I could get that. I always started to look at the other
Yeah.
side of it.
You see how you and all he's doing is he's just kind of like nudging you, nudging you. And once people get that little nudge, all of a sudden your whole way of thinking about this thing, we ain't even went through the precepts of it, but automatically you started seeing something different. You said that, well, hey, I mean, I know the hand is your doctrine, but you know, well, he said,
Yeah,
what's
well,
behind your forehead? You like, well, that's the mind. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's where the doctrine is. You know, I mean, you just start automatically once. And I like the way whenever he that last video we did about he said, well, if you had never seen an angel before, we said, well, if you had never seen the Ark of the Covenant, how would you know what it was? Unless it was something that somebody gave you, a thought to cause you to believe a certain way.
oh yeah,
Right.
well, I mean, I take upon that, you know, like I got people that really have been angels to me in real life, honestly, you know what I mean? I have some great people around me.
Mm-hmm.
I had a great grandmother, you know, that used to help everybody and all this kind
Mm-hmm.
of stuff, all types of stuff. I can't even talk about all the stuff she did, but
Mm-hmm.
she's an angel to me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Not perfect, but definitely
Nobody is.
Nobody is.
resembles
But
angel like behavior, you know, like really. So
but the thing is, people have seen all of these renditions on movies and stuff that's talk about the mark of the beast and you know, Soylent Green is people, and you know, this is their vision of what the world's gonna be like in the last days and all that other stuff. But people see all of that stuff on media and they kind of adopt it because they say, well, that makes sense.
Right.
You know, and then you start questioning, well, does that really make sense? Well, if somebody needs to implant a chip in your hand, but you voluntarily carrying around a chip.
well, I
Why
think
do I need to even put the chip in your hand? Because I know you're gonna use that phone.
Right.
here's the real deal. Here's the real deal for me, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
If they decide to make it mandatory, I'm always gonna be like, nah, this is an issue for me. If they decide to make chips mandatory, like, yo, you have to put the chip in your right hand and you have to do that, I'm gonna always look at it like that. Like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
I'm making it mandatory. Why can't I buy a chip? Or why can't I use something on my phone? Or why can't I buy a card with the chip on the card or something like that? Y'all want to make me have to put something in my body that I don't want to put in my body? Like, it's always gonna be an issue for me personally.
Here goes my question. Who said the mark was a chip?
True. When it does market,
That's
I mean,
the point. Somebody
it's
just came up and planted in your forehead
Yes.
that
yeah,
it was a chip.
Yes.
yeah, for sure. Because it could, I mean, it could definitely be. I mean, I felt like me. I always felt, honestly, I always felt like the mark had two sides to it as well. I also felt like it had like a spiritually deprived part as well. Like something just wrong with this person that has this mark, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I'm seeing too much carnal things about it. That's just like, wait a minute, why are they doing this in China? Why are they doing this over here? Why does New York City have a Chinese police force?
Mm-hmm.
Why is all the people in Israel got
Mm-hmm.
the first people with microchips? Like, wait a minute now, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I just seen too many things that make me say like I'm always gonna keep that on. I'm always gonna keep
Yeah,
my eye
but
on that.
like to the original question, who said that the mark was a chip? Who came up with that?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
That's what you need to research, because this is never saying anything. Because you already knew when you read it, right hand man doctrine. You knew it.
Yeah, yeah.
And now
Well,
I'm telling you what your forehead is. So now you got to ask yourself, who came out and said it was a chip? Where did that doctrine start?
people been saying that, but people been saying that for years, man. You couldn't even tell who the first person to say it was, because it's been way before churches, way before camps. Like people been saying like,
right. That's the point I'm trying to make. Who? That's like Christmas. That's like saying Christ came on Christmas Day. Who said that? Because you can never prove
to make a whole lot of money. Somebody that I could say somebody that wants to make a whole lot of money with Christmas. That's
so now think about that with the mark in the right hand. If I tell you about a chip, How much more money can I make off of that?
Mm-hmm.
It's Bible prophecy. It's right here in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you could make a lot of money off of it because being seen as a person that has so much knowledge to see something so far ahead that's
Yes.
coming together in a way that, okay, look like this is going to happen and stuff like that, and people coming to your ministry and just praising you and worshiping you because of you saying these things so early and stuff like that, and you so like stern about it. So yeah, you can make some money. If you really, you got to really be you got to just be a fiend though, but you
Right.
can't.
Mm-hmm.
The point I'm trying to make, Sean, it's all doctrine. Somebody made it up.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody made it up. Yeah.
Somebody came up one day, read that, and was like, you know what? I think a mark gonna be a computer chip.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell Stephen, I'm like, hey man, when I read Revelation 13:16, I think he talking about computer chip.
Right.
You know what he did? He went and told Samuel, guess what? He read this, and I think he's saying computer chip. And what he did, he goes to tell Sean, hey Sean, Revelation 13:16, the mark is the computer chip, and then it spreads.
Mm-hmm.
That's the in your forehead.
Mm-hmm.
So here's this. This is the only thing I'm gonna say.
Go ahead.
I hear what y'all saying.
Mm-hmm.
They can't make it mandatory because they're gonna look like they try and make that prophecy come true. That's all I can say. As long as they keep it here, you get to pick, you can choose if you want to chip in your arm or your finger or whatever, cool. But if they make it mandatory, it's going to be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine.
That's all it is. That's the main thing that gives life to that doctrine is that them making it
right. That's what I'm saying.
Is the thing that's giving nobody knows if they're not gonna make it mandatory or not. So that's the only thing that's like got people like, okay, if they decide not to make it mandatory, cool. But if they make it mandatory, because they try to do that with vaccines, try to make vaccines mandatory and stuff like that. Like that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
People don't like that stuff. So
so we're gonna go to the next verse. And it says that no man might buy or sell, save he had the chip or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right. Well, you know, they sitting there saying, well, you know, back whenever I was a kid, the 666 was Ronald Reagan. His first name was Ronald, his middle name was Wilson, and his last name is Reagan. That's 666. All right.
I wouldn't believe that one.
But you see how somebody could just come and tell you that.
I know about numerology and all that. I just not.
But you see how somebody can see how they mixing doctrines, because numerology is a whole different doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
A whole different thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nah. But somebody's gonna believe it though. Somebody's gonna believe that.
Right. And back in the 80s, we all believed that
Screen sharing. Says you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, she's coming in.
She coming. Oh, that's her.
Yeah,
Okay.
she just had text me just now. Yeah, this is perfect. She need this. She need this. She need to see this just so we can, you know what I'm saying, so we could break this up. We all need this.
Right.
You there, sis?
Hey everyone.
Hey, how you doing?
Shalom, sis.
Shalom everyone.
Shalom. We was just getting into the we're reading Revelation 13. We started at verse 11 and we're reading down.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Excuse my lateness.
No, we're all right. We're all right. Because all we're doing now is basically going over how this thing is taught carnally. All right.
Right. Yes. Amen.
But we're going to give you the spiritual understanding of what it means, right? And like I was saying before, we are at Revelation 13. It's saying that the mark of the beast, and anybody take the mark of the beast or his name, and the name is number of his name. So, and I was explaining whenever I was younger, they were saying that the mark of the beast was Ronald Reagan, because his first name is Ronald, his second name is Wilson, and his third name was Reagan. So those are 3 6s. So they used, whenever he became president, to say that he was the beast, right? But everybody knows Ronald Reagan died, and all of the stuff that they claim was going to happen under the quote unquote beast never happened. All right. So we're just explaining some of the ways that people believe according to how this thing is written. So we're going to read this last verse right here. Go ahead and read that.
Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
That's 666. So they telling you a man gonna come along and he gonna have the number 666. And all those back in the day, they had this movie called The Omen with this kid by the name of Damien. Damien had he had 3 sixes in his head, and you know, everybody was terrified, you know, he's the devil, you know, because everybody believes this supernatural devil that's got all of these powers that can, you know, take a person's health and his life at the snap of a finger. He just thinking and a person will die. So this is all stuff that men have made up and cause people to believe it, because the people don't have true understanding. So they believe when you don't have understanding about something, and somebody comes and says, I have the understanding, based upon whether or not you respect this person, right? You'll take his interpretation. So if this is a person, he's been preaching on the corner for the last 30 or 40 years, and you know, he drives a big car, he has nice suits, and he has very good diction. Well, you might turn around and say, well, I'll take his word over anybody else because he's been doing the same thing. People have been giving him accolades for being a preacher for all these many years. But the Most High didn't tell you to do that, right? The Most High told you you had to find out what it meant, precept upon precept. You had to find out. The only way we're gonna go to matter of fact, we'll go read it. We're gonna go to Matthew 18, and we're gonna see where he says, if you got those precepts, he's in the midst of it. Let's see here. It's Matthew 18 and 20. Read that for me.
Matthew 18:20. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name.
His name is his word. That's Revelation 19:13. His name is the word of God. So if you gather in 2 or 3 precepts together in his doctrine, read on.
There am I in the midst of them.
You're going to know what his doctrine means, because you got those 2 or 3 precepts. That's the only way you're going to figure out what something means. You got to have the precepts. Right. All right. So let's go back. We're going to go back.
I'd like to ask something, Elder.
Absolutely, Elder.
Because see, the thing is that you got to have those precepts. I'm going to tell you why. You remember when Christ was going through a situation, those Pharisees got 2 witnesses, carnal men,
yes,
to testify against Christ. Those 2 men was not righteous. So you can get anybody to testify against someone, but he had to use the way what God is saying. You got to get his words to testify. You see that? See, you can get 2 witnesses out the blue.
Yes.
And they told lies on Christ. And I know a particular account, they did that to 2 men. They got 2 false witnesses, and they testified against the man. Then one came back and said, no, that wasn't true. But if they would have went to the scriptures,
I remember that,
it would have been solved.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So now, somebody got a question?
I wanted to say one thing. Also, you want to we just talked about the mark of the beast, saying who are some of the people that make up the first doctrines about it, and that's something I'm gonna look into, and I just wanted Squeaky to hear that too as well, just for the sake of the conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, so now we know we got to have the precepts in order to back up what we say. Isaiah 28. Yes.
So we understand why we're saying what we're saying.
Okay, let me go to Isaiah 28. There's more than one place in here where it's saying this, right? But this is the Most High's method.
Isaiah 28:9. Whom shall he teach knowledge?
Okay, this is talking about how you obtain knowledge of what the Most High is saying. We just read, Christ said, if you got 2 or 3 precepts to support your, to establish your doctrine, he said, I'm in the middle of that. So that's my doctrine. If you got the 2 or 3 precepts that line up, you know?
And whom shall he make to understand doctrine?
So this is how you understand his doctrine.
Them that are weaned from the milk.
Them people who ain't, okay, whenever the last time we met, we pulled the precept 1 Corinthians 3, 1 and 2. And it told you about how Paul was trying to teach them people. He had to teach them with milk and not meat. Milk is carnal understanding. Meat is deeper understanding. So he's telling you, you got to be weaned from that milk, that carnal, them carnal precepts. You got to be weaned from that. You can't be sustaining off of carnal understanding in order to get proper knowledge. You know?
And drawn from the breast.
It's saying the same thing. Milk comes from the breast.
Also, like when you're a baby, like right now, you guys are babies. So you're getting milk because we're giving you precepts, words of precepts, right? So once you wean from that and you start, like you just said earlier, you knew hand was a doctrine.
Yes.
So as you start your collection of spiritual words grow, you're now being weaned from it, from that milk. Then you start to eat meat because that means you're spiritually growing older.
Right.
You understand?
For sure. For sure.
All right.
Yeah, that's funny to me because I got a baby on me now on my breast.
See?
See how God works?
Yeah, he do indeed. He does indeed.
Right. Verse 28:10. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, and here a little and there a little.
Okay. So now all it's telling you is you're going to have to make sure that the precepts that you use have the proper context. You can't just go up in there and the situation is talking about a hand over here. Like you say, that's a doctrine. But then you go over here and it's talking about somebody picked something up and you say, well, that's a hand too. So you and the context is different. All right. You got to look at, like, say, for instance, okay, you know that the hand is a doctrine, right? The context of hand is talking about doctrine. So now when you go and you say, well, they put Christ on the cross and they pierced his hand. Yeah, he physically was killed by crucifixion where they, quote unquote, pierced his hand, but they also pierced his doctrine. Those people, remember he gave you that precept before where he talked about that if we don't take care of this guy, we're gonna lose our power and our position, right? That's explaining piercing of his hand. They had to destroy his doctrine so that they could stay in power. That's why they killed him. All right. So what the precept upon precept is, you gotta make sure you line up the context with it. And it says here a little, there a little. It's a little bit from the books of Moses, the books of the prophets, the books of the disciples. You can get them from different places in the Bible because it's going to be consistent. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
For with stammering lips and another tongue, he speak to this people.
He telling you, this doctrine is a different language. This is a different language. The way that when you said that chip in the hand, the average person would not have been able to translate that. That means you're at the beginning stages of speaking this language. So he say stammering lips. Well, it's going to be difficult in the beginning, and another tongue. This is a different language, right? The people go slowly. Remember last week, Elder Samuel said, they said that Moses was slow to speech. Well, it took him a while to figure out the doctrine. Aaron knew the doctrine better than he did. But the thing was, Moses was meek. So the Most High chose him because he was meek. So people learn at different levels, but if you're using this method, you definitely are going to understand what he's saying. And that's how this the method that we're going to use in order to get the understanding of this mark of the beast and 366, 666 and all that other stuff.
16, 17.
Let's go to Mark.
Then we get back to it. Make sure they understand. Last one be 1 Corinthians 14:27. Let's go make it all round up. Come on, baby.
All right. I moved him all the way to the side, but he wouldn't work with me. Okay, Mark 16, 17, and 17. Now read it. And these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name shall they cast out devils. They shall speak with new tongues.
New understanding, new doctrines, like what we're doing right now. We're casting out devils, meaning all the deception that's out there in the world is being cast down. You're learning it as well, and sis learning it as well. You know what I'm saying? And the new tongue that you're getting is the new doctrine. And that's how you casting out devils, meaning all of the deceit that you heard in your life. That's why this is Christ speaking right here. He said, in my name, in his doctrine, they shall cast out devils. All that deceit, because you understand the spiritual doctrine. And they shall speak new tongues, meaning what? Your doctrine is going to be new. It's going to be a new doctrine. How many heard what we're teaching right now out there in this world? Who could be teaching anything similar?
It's not that many.
You see what I'm saying? And so it's a new tongue.
People thinking, oh, you didn't speak in tongues yet. So you
should
don't.
about a Honda. Should about a Honda. That's not a tongue.
No.
That's not the tongue he's talking about.
Wow.
The tongue is a doctrine.
It's a doctrine.
It's a language.
Right.
Language that makes sense. It being a language, like I've been saying, I got in tune with that for a while with the tongues, because it was also kind of bothersome to me that I keep hearing people say it to me and then say it online and stuff like that. Like, if you can't speak in tongues, then you're not a believer. And I'm like, what y'all talking about?
Yeah, because the Bible says you got to be able to interpret it.
Right. You need
you need 3 interpreters also. You need 3 interpreters for new tongues.
But if you get the chance, go back to see that video. See the video about can a woman teach, and it breaks down that you got to have 2 or 3, and that the interpreters and all that other stuff. It's talking about you got to be able to show in the Bible that you got to prove that it's actually saying what it's saying, just what we just read, precept upon precept. That's
I just tried to tell somebody that. Like I said, I just tried to tell somebody that, and they're not hearing me.
1 Corinthians 14. Oh, 14, 13.
Okay. 1 Corinthians 14.
I know we're kind of going off. We got to understand what this tongue is.
Nah. We need this. It's needed.
Wherefore, let him that speaketh in an unknown tongue pray that he may interpret.
Okay. Verse 14. Just going to explain it.
For if I pray in an unknown tongue, my spirit prayeth, but my understanding is unfruitful.
Why would it be unfruitful?
It hasn't grown yet. It's not there yet.
Right. So he's talking about dealing with in the spirit, right? So go down to 18. (18 and 19) is going to show you what the tongues are.
I thank my God. I speak with tongues more than ye all.
Mm-hmm. So Paul says speak in tongues, right?
Yet in the church I had rather speak 5 words with my understanding, that by my voice I might teach others also, than 10,000 words in an unknown tongue.
So he said he's going to teach 5 spiritual things like we're doing right now. We give you 5. He's talking about 5 spiritual subjects. So we're going over the tongue right now, right? We're going over the mark. There's different subjects he's talking about. I'd rather speak these 5 things. Somebody else coming in?
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather speak these 5 things than.
Oh, we lost her.
Yeah, she went out.
I'd rather speak these 5 things than 1,000 things of something that you know nothing about. Giving you full understanding on these 5 things.
Who's speaking?
This
right
is Paul.
Here? Okay.
I thought I had her. Where'd she go?
Can we go down to 21?
Okay, we're gonna go down to verse 21.
Mm-hmm. He's talking about understanding.
I had that same problem, but we're gonna prove it. This thing is coming out. Christ had the same problem. That's this class is a deep class, but I'm gonna bring up 2 precepts to prove what I'm talking about. All right.
Here we go.
It says, verse 21, in the law it is written, with men of other tongues and other lips will I speak to this people.
Didn't we just read that?
Just read it. And yet for all that will they not hear me, saith the Lord.
Saith the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Saith the Lord. He's talking about the understanding of the Bible. That's the tongue. That's the doctrine.
Right.
That's what he's talking about. He's not talking about shit about a Honda.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Gibberish.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He's talking about your
I
understanding.
ain't gonna lie, bro. That's another one of the things I just never believed.
Now you got it now.
You'll get it. You'll get it. You'll
If
get
you
it.
read,
The most
Sean, when you go back and read down
to
to 21, when you can read on your own, 24 tells you right then it's talking about the doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but if we all prophesy, he's talking about prophesying.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it is because I don't know if y'all saw the video, but I like to go in depth behind y'all with the presets too.
Mm-hmm.
And then since y'all talking about telling us where it came from, I'll do that too. And show you.
And 27 is the killer. We just brought
the
this
first
up.
person that came up with tongues is.
Mm-hmm. Let me see.
Destroy that.
Yep.
Go to view chapter first, and they'll give you the whole thing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Going down.
And it's the last one, and I'll let him get on this mark. But I want to let you know what this chapter is. There we go. We just read this earlier, right? By Christ, right?
Mm-hmm.
Christ said the same thing.
If any man speak in an unknown tongue, let it be by 2, or at the most by 3, and that of by course.
By course is like a college course, what you're teaching.
Mm-hmm. And let one interpret.
So what he's talking about, 2 or 3. Didn't Christ say 2 or 3 are in the midst? 2 scriptures, 2 precepts, I'm in the midst. That's what he's talking about right here. Come with 2 or 3 precepts to interpret the doctrine. That's what he's saying right here.
Right.
All right. So now we kill the tongue.
That's great. That's what we established.
Yes.
Established order. You know what I'm saying? Established order on what's being said. The word got to be understood on some level. You can't just run around and just get a sentence or two and then think, okay, I'm about to come up with something. I'm about to say something sly. You
Right.
gotta really have an understanding.
Right. So,
Okay, so we're gonna go back to Revelation 13, right? And I don't know if you have her text. Just tell her to try and come in again. We missed her. She needs to try again. And
Yeah, I don't want her to miss this. Let me
Yeah.
call. I'm just calling real quick. Make it easy. I think her phone might have died.
Oh, okay.
Wait. She said, I'm trying and it's not letting me. Oh. Can you re-invite her one time?
You said what now?
Wait, 1 second. She's about to join again.
Okay.
Okay.
She said she had just attempted to join and then.
I'll fill it in. All right, we got a ship. We got tongue. So you understand the tongue, Sean?
All right, so she's not gonna be able to get back in right this second. Her Wi-Fi is new where she just got into a new place.
Okay.
So she's gonna join in
Okay.
where she can join in. We can record and we good.
We good.
Yeah, I know the tongues I understood. The tongues I already like. I didn't know the precepts for it and stuff like that. And now that I really just recorded it, that makes it even better for me. But the tongues, yeah, I already knew that the tongues weren't what people were saying it is. I knew that. I knew that tongues weren't what people were saying it is. I knew that you needed to have. I thought that you needed to have interpreters to speak the tongues, and people weren't doing it right. Something about it was wrong or something like that. I did not believe what it was. I didn't get to have the full information at first about what it wasn't and what it was, but I knew like speaking in tongues was not something you need for your salvation and all that stuff. The way that some people make you feel like you're going,
Right.
you know.
It's a misunderstanding of the way that they read the scriptures. They misunderstand what the Bible is actually saying, and they explain it the best way that they can because they don't know about the 2 or 3 precepts. They don't understand that concept. All right. So
Yeah.
Hey,
I like the way you said that. That's the right way to address that.
you know, don't feel bad about it. Like Elder said that Moses had that problem.
yes.
Do not doubt it. Genesis 18:14, nothing too hard for God. That's why he got on Moses. He said, then I make the tongue, then I make the ears. But go to Mark chapter 1, verse 27. I just got 2 precepts because I know this class can go on and on. Because all of us love the Most High.
Right.
I just left, a group but Christ had this problem when he showed up on the scene. In Deuteronomy 32:2, God said, my speech gonna drop. If you read above that and Deuteronomy 31, he said, and in the later days, this was gonna happen. Okay? And I get that scripture, but go to Mark 1:32.
Mark 1:32.
Uh-huh. He said that at Deuteronomy 32:29 and verse 30 also. Then Deuteronomy 32 shows up and he said that my doctrine shall drop as rain, my speech shall distill as the dew, and so forth. So you can read about that in Deuteronomy chapter 32:2. But for right now, go to Mark chapter 1, verse 27. Christ had the same problem. He said, "What if it happened to me? It's gonna happen to you."
All right. Mark 1:27. And they were all amazed insomuch that they questioned among themselves, saying, what thing is this? What new doctrine is this? For with authority commanded he even the unclean spirits, and they do obey him.
You see that? This is a new doctrine. This is what they thought. But the doctrine was here before God even created man. Because when you read Genesis chapter 1, verse 3, verse 2, it says, the earth is void. Then he brought the light in. You see, the understanding, which is John chapter 8, verse 12, 1 Corinthians 4 and 6. I'm saying these precepts so you can go back through because it's documented. Those precepts mean something. It means the word of God, the light, Christ. Go to Acts chapter 17, verse 19. Paul had the same problem. They think it's a new doctrine. This doctrine always been around. It's been around. But man, stop thinking on the spiritual side and started thinking carnal. And it was lost. Because they never killed the old person in them. And that's what Elder Stephen bring it out, that mark of the beast. You got to destroy that old person in you to receive this full understanding.
Right.
You cannot hate anyone. Hate the sin that they're doing, and that's it. But go ahead, Elder.
And they took him and brought him unto Areopagus, saying, may we know this new doctrine whereof thou speakest is.
See that? They say it's a new doctrine. No, this doctrine been around. This been around. But man has dropped so low to the earth, carnal understanding. Remember Christ said the stars gonna fall to the earth. The stars are a host of heaven. The stars, the moon, the sun, the clouds, the air. Those things actually represent something and someone. You see? And when they fell to the earth, carnal understanding, they lost it. They lost the doctrine.
Yep.
And that's what happened. So don't get discouraged because it's coming. The key is don't hate anyone. Don't hate anyone. But that's all I want to bring out, Elder.
All praises. All right, so we're gonna get back to we're gonna get back to
17.
Thank you for that.
Revelation 13.
Yeah, there it go right there. Getting back to Revelations 13. We're gonna start at 11. Now that I've given you all the understanding of what it means carnally, we're gonna start translating what it means spiritually. All right. Read that.
Revelation 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he held two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Okay, so now the first question you're gonna want to ask is, what's a beast? Now I'm gonna give you the understanding of what a beast is. Elder Samuel gonna give you a deeper understanding of what a beast is. All right. So, but the part that I'm gonna get you, because he's gonna talk about an inner beast. I'm gonna tell you about the beast that is talking about, but there's more than one beast. All right. So we're gonna go to Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 18. Let me get here to it.
Right there.
And so my last episode, you said beast was man, right?
Right.
Absolutely. And this is the scripture. This is the precept that lets you know that men are beasts. Read that, bro.
Ecclesiastes 3:18. I said in my heart concerning the state of the sons of men,
He's talking about men,
that God might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts.
So he's saying that men are beasts. We're going to go now to Leviticus. chapter 11. We want to go to verse 2.
Leviticus 11:2. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, these are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth.
All right. Verse 3.
Whatsoever parteth the hoof and is cloven footed and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat.
So, okay, it's telling you those beasts are the ones that know how to rightly divide. It's telling you it's talking about the prophets, okay? The beasts he's talking about are the prophets, all right? Beasts are the flesh, the meat that you're eating. Those beasts is talking about actually, it's talking about understanding, wisdom. We're going to go to John chapter 6. We're going to go to verse 51, so you can get what flesh is. Meat is flesh. The meat that you eat and that we talking about in Leviticus is flesh. All right. So we're going to go there now.
I got one more beast that can eat.
Job 12:7. We'll go there next. So, read that for me, bro.
John 6:51. I am the living bread.
Bread is wisdom, understanding. So, you know, the scripture, Matthew 4:4, it says, man don't live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. So he's letting you know, bread is the word. Now he's getting ready to compare bread to something.
I am the living bread, which came down from heaven.
So he's telling us a different type of bread. This is spiritual bread.
If any man eat of this bread.
So if he eat like you eat meat, he's giving you a different understanding of what bread and meat mean. Read on.
He shall live forever.
So he's telling you he got the wisdom that's going to give you life. Read.
And the bread that I will give is my flesh.
He's comparing bread and flesh together. He's saying that bread and flesh mean the same thing in the Bible. Read.
Which I will give for the life of the world.
So he's telling you, his understanding is for the life of everybody that follows him. He made that sacrifice. So all people who are in the carnal understanding, because that's the world, all the people in the carnal understanding, if they convert to his understanding, they're going to get life. All right. You said you had another
one for beast, Job 35:11. I got 20 of them.
Yeah.
I like head bangles.
Job.
Job is chock full of.
Yeah. Job 35:11. Who teaches us more than the beasts of the earth?
So a beast can't teach you, can he? Can a warthog teach you anything? Teach you how to run.
maybe a Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata.
that don't count though.
You know what I'm saying? So a regular beast that they're thinking about it. If I told you at the beginning, if I told you what is a beast, you never seen no movie or anything, and I told you, ask you what is a beast, how would you describe it? You see what I'm saying?
I mean, like I said, we got the ebonics thing going on. So, you know, people do that. Like I play ball, I'm a beast on the court. We do, you know,
you got it. There you go. But see, that's a good analogy right there.
Right.
So now that's a perfect analogy. Yes. Showing that you were a man. I'm a beast on the court. Meaning that's a man. The beast is the man. So that's the analogy. Good analogy. I'm gonna use that. Thank you, Sean.
Sean will be
all right. I'm about to use that one.
That's what you got to do though, so people can relate to it.
Right. But I'm saying that's the
job of the prophet.
That's a job of the prophet.
That's the miracle.
That's exactly what he said. That's exactly the miracle. Right. To relate it.
To make somebody understand it. But
there's also another one though, the pasture of men. That's the one that really hit me.
Yes.
Pasture of men.
Right.
I like that one because it really like the wordplay, and then just showing you that you have to really, you sit back a little bit and get to understand how creative God is. You know what I mean? It just made me feel like it's creative.
Yes.
Because it's all a song. People don't realize it.
Yes.
It's all a song.
Yes.
So in a song, you got similes and metaphors. You got all types of stuff in a song.
Right.
You just got to play
There's
on
life
that.
in it. There's life in it. It's not.
Yes.
Just read it.
Right. So so now we know what beast means.